and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see yesterday's and today's important current affairs which appeared in our Hindu newspaper. Before getting started, let us see the topics of the day, and later on we are going to analyze from both prelims and as well as mains point of view. Okay, the first article, it is about climate change, imbalance in fertilizer use impact soil organic carbon, says ICAR. So ICAR came up with a study, and this study said that because of climate change and also irrational use or imbalanced use of fertilizer is having impact on our soil's organic carbon, and in turn it is going to affect our agriculture productivity. And this topic is very important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. Our next topic is Aditya L1 gets a close look at eruptions from the sun. So this article is talking about one important mission that we launched to study sun, that is Aditya L1. So here there is a very high chance of getting question regarding this Aditya L1 from your science and technology. And next topic is COP30 beginner's guide on what to expect from climate summit. So this article is talking about this COP30 that we are going to have soon, and this article is talking about what are the expected outcomes of this COP30. And this topic is again important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. And next topic is, does India needs nutritional transformation? So this article is talking about on which nutrients we have to focus, on proteins or micro or macronutrients, what. So this article is talking about GS paper 2 under governance point of view. And next topic is high intensity explosion in capital kills at least 9. So what happened is yesterday around 6:30 to 7 p.m. in the evening, before Red Fort, one car blast happened. So in that car blast, around 9 people they were died. But till now there is no clear-cut thing like what is the exact reason behind that car blast. But we have to see that article. It is very important from your disaster management from GS paper 3. And next topic is celebrating a sage king, a celebration of India-Bhutan ties. This article is talking about India-Bhutan relations, and we have to see about the present king of Bhutan. And this topic is important from your GS paper 2 under international relations. And next topic is, what is the role of pay commission? So here you have to see about what is this pay commission, what are its mandates, why we came up with this, and whether it is a constitutional body or whether it is statutory body. So you may get prelims based question from this area. And this topic is important from your polity from GS paper 2. So these all are the topics that we are going to discuss in this class. Okay, so look at this title guys carefully and tell me what are the keywords. Climate change, imbalance in fertilizer use, impacts soil organic carbon, says ICAR study. So what are the keywords? Climate change and fertilizer. Okay. This article is talking about especially soil fertility, right? So what are the dimensions you have to see? First of all, in your geography, in GS paper 1, you will be having this topic of soil. There you will be studying about different types of soils. For example, we have alluvial soil, red soil, laterite soil, saline soil, desert soil, mountain soil, etc. So here you have to see about different types of soil in India. And not only that, you have to draw India map and you have to see which soils are dominated in which regions. So you have to make a profile. And next, very important thing, you have to see the composition of the soil. So what are the minerals which are present in this soil? On this also you can expect now a prelims based question guys. And next you have to see why, what are the reasons why there is decreasing of soil fertility in India. Okay, and next you have to see what are the measures can be taken to control this soil pollution or soil erosion in India. Okay, so these reasons and measures can be a mains question. Composition types, you may get question regarding your prelims. Okay, so these are the things that you have to see from this area from both prelims and mains. And if you see, this article is talking about especially reasons. which are mainly leading to the loss of soil fertility. So what are the reasons they are mainly saying here? First one is climate change. Second one is irregular fertilizer use. So if you're talking about this climate change, how this climate change is contributing to the soil infertility? How can you think? Hmm? So actually what is happening here? Global warming is happening. So because of this global warming, what is happening here? Increasing of temperature across the globe. So because of this increasing of temperature across the globe, are we getting rainfall evenly? And we are also getting like untimely, or the timely rainfall is not happening. And even yes, greenhouse effect will lead to this global warming. So what is happening here is rainfall is not happening evenly and uniformly across our country. So because of this, some regions are getting floods, some regions are getting droughts. So what happens here is whenever there is drought-like conditions, whenever we have more sunlight which is coming from the sun, what happens? Whatever the water which is present in the soil will be getting evaporated. Whenever water is coming upside, it will also brings the minerals to the top layer. What happens? Only water, H2O molecules will be getting evaporated. But whatever the salts are there, that salts will be getting deposited on the surface of the soil. That will lead to the formation of saline soils. And this mechanism is called as what? Very important, capillary action. Please make a note, capillary action. Because of this climate change, because of this global warming, greenhouse effect, due to this capillary action, what happens? The water which is present inside the soil will be coming upside, and the water will be getting evaporated, and this salts, minerals will be getting deposited on the top of this soil. That will lead to the formation of the saline soils. Then what happened? These saline soils are not good. So because of this, obviously, that will lead to decreasing of productivity of that soil. Obviously, that will lead to less production of food if you're going for this cultivation in the soils. That is the first thing they mainly said. Because of this climate change, saline soils are forming because of this capillary action that is affecting our food. And as far as fertilizer, what we are doing, which kind of fertilizers we'll use commonly in our crops? You know about this urea. And next one is DAP and urea. So what are these fertilizers contains? Which are the minerals that we can see? NPK, right? What will be there? NPK. What is this NPK? Nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus. So these are the three important minerals that will be present in this fertilizers. Then what happens? Then what happens? Actually, there is a myth in our agriculture, guys. Farmers, they mainly think that if they are using more fertilizer, then what happens? They will be getting more agriculture produce. Rather than using whatever the amount that required, they'll use double, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Because of this, what is happening? Nitrogen pollution, phosphorus pollution, potassium pollution is happening in the soil. That will lead to the increasing of this concentration, and whatever the carbon concentration is there, that will be decreasing. So because of this, what happening? It is also having impact on our agriculture produce and food security, guys. So these are the two important things which mainly highlighted by this ICAR study. Now let us see this article. Now tell me, guys, from which subject is important? We are going to study about the soil. We are going to study about this climate change. We are going to study about this food security. We are going to study about impact on overall Indian economy. Why? Because majorly Indian economy is called as primary economy or agriculture based economy. So because of this study, what we can understand, if you're not controlling climate change, if you're not control the proper use of fertilizer, then what happen? It will be having impact on our overall productivity of our country. That will be also having impact on our GDP. That means it is important from governance point of view, it is important from geography point of view, environment point of view, economy point of view. Overall, it will be having impact on our Indian society. That is also the part of it. Okay, so we can connect this single article from different dimensions. Okay, now let's exactly see what the study is saying about. Recently, ICAR, the full form of ICAR is Indian Council of Agriculture Research, revealed alarming evidence that there is unscientific use of fertilizers is happening in India, and not only that, climate change is also causing significant degradation of organic carbon in India's soils. Okay, unbalanced fertilizer use, it is mainly seen in areas like Haryana, Punjab, and Western UP. Why? Because green revolution started in that Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP regions. In this region, yes, what is happening here? Unbalanced use of fertilizer is happening. So because of this, what is happening is there is uh, that is leading to this unscientific fertilization. Because of that, what is happening? Soil carbon health is decreasing. So that is the thing. But actually, Bihar is using balanced fertilizer compared to of this Haryana, Punjab, and Western UP. That is the one important findings of this study. And next one here is soils in hilly regions, they have higher organic carbon, whereas low land soils exhibit depletion. So what is happening normally in this hilly regions, we have good green lush. Okay, we have good number of green trees. So if the green trees are more, what happens? The leaves will dry and they'll fall off and they'll fall on this top layer of the soil. And finally microorganisms will come and they will decompose this litter and that will lead to the formation of humus. Humus is a very rich in carbon. What is happening? If you see that same level of carbon which is present in the soils in other regions, it is not like that. So especially in these hilly regions where we have good number of trees, we have this good carbon, and in the plain regions and even in the desert regions, we will be having very low carbon. So if there is low carbon, obviously we cannot produce proper carbohydrates, guys. And this one here is temperature is also having negative impact. Especially regions like Rajasthan, Telangana showed that they are having very low soil organic carbon content because of organic matter decomposition happens at a very faster rate. And one more thing that you have to remember is whenever there is a very high temperature, the decomposition rate will be very high. So have you ever observed whenever you are storing certain food in one box, normally during summer season that will be getting spoiled very easily compared to that of winter season, right? That means whenever temperature is increasing, decomposition will be happening at a very faster rate. So what are the organic carbon which is there in these regions? What is happening here is they are decomposing very fast rate. That is also one important reason. And next one here is there is also influence of rainfall and as well as cropping system. If you are going for only one crop every year, every season, what happens? There will be depletion of the nutrients in that soil. Rather than going for monocropping, we have to go for multi-cropping. So that is the thing which mainly said by this ICAR in the study. Okay, so why we have to focus on this soil health? Why India has to think about that? Why government has to think about that? The reason here is soil. If you are maintaining the proper soil health, then only it will be supporting our agriculture. As you all know that 54% of Indian population, they are working on this agriculture sector. If there is no proper soil health, we cannot provide proper livelihood for this 54% of people who depend on this agriculture. That is the one important thing. And next one here is when we are maintaining good soil health, obviously that will lead to increased crop yield or crop produce. Then what happens? Obviously that will lead to increasing of food security in our country. We can ensure food security. And next one is we can also maintain proper environmental balance. If you are maintaining the proper carbon means that will be transferred to the next food chain. So we can maintain healthy food chains and as well as food webs so that we can support biodiversity in this region. And next one here is poor soil health leads to reduced productivity, that will lead to increased input cost, that will lead to reduced income of farmer, and again what happens, it will be having impact on our economy. So because of all these things, now we have to maintain proper soil health. And now I'll ask you a question, guys. So tell me, is government taking any measures regarding the maintaining of soil health or not? So what are the schemes government came up with so far? Online students, please comment in the comment box. What are the schemes? Come on, think and tell me. Online guys, have you heard about soil health card scheme? Next. Yes, government came up with one scheme called as soil health card in year 2015 itself. Actually, the important aim of this scheme it is to provide farmer with a detailed report of the nutrients of their soil. For example, if you are having any health problem, what we'll do? We'll do health checkup and we'll be getting details of our health. In the same way, farmers will be getting the detailed report of the nutrients which are present in that soil, and based on that report, we can analyze that which kind of crop can be grown in that so and so soil, and how much amount of the fertilizer and other things that are required to maintain the proper soil health. So that thing they will be getting. So for that, government came up with this mobile soil testing labs, school soil health program, and as well as digital tracking as well. And second one is government came up with this soil health management. It comes under part of National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, and we are focusing on especially integrated management of soil and as well as organic farming. And next very important one is government came up with this Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So this scheme have measured the soil health and fertility component for better coordination as well as impact. So these three things that you have to remember guys: soil health card, we have soil health management, and we have Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Okay, now let us see the next article. Look at the title guys. Aditya L1 gets a close look at eruptions from the sun. This article is very important. So this article is talking about one important mission, Aditya L1. It is our ISRO's solar mission. So in this mission, we are going to study about what? Sun. Okay, to understand this significance of this mission, why our country launched this mission, why we want to study about this sun, everything, first you have to know about the basics of sun rays. In your science and technology subject from GS paper 3, you will be studying about the sun and the basics of sun. Okay, so where you will study about the sun exactly? In a topic called as solar system. In this solar system topic, you will be studying about the sun. Okay, solar system is nothing but we have sun. Around the sun, we have different planets. We have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. In between, we have asteroid belt. Okay, we have comets. Everything constitutes our solar system. The sun is a major star which is present in the center of our solar system. So if you see about the different parts of sun, I'll show you one image. One minute. So this is the structure of the sun. So if you cut the sun longitudinally, we have different layers. So inside we have core. The central part is core. So around this core we have a layer called as convective zone. And we have radiative zone. We have chromosphere. We have corona. The sun that we can see is this part corona. So from this corona what happens? Sometimes very strong winds will come from the sun. They are called as solar flares. Very strong winds which will come from the sun called as solar flares. Then what happened here is whenever the solar flares come from the sun, so it will be having impact on earth. Not only that, around the earth we have natural satellites and as well as artificial satellites. The natural satellite of earth is moon. Apart from that, we launched lots of satellites around the earth, right? That will be having impact on our artificial satellites. If these winds are affecting our satellites which are present around our earth, which are revolving around earth in this space, then what happened? We will be having disruptions in communication. We will be not having proper navigation. We will be not having proper signals of internet. So all these problems can happen because of this solar flare, solar wind. So because of this, our India launched one mission called as Aditya L1, and we are going to study about the solar flare, solar wind, and about in detail regarding the sun, during which time it is going to be affected. As you all know that Earth will revolve around the sun in elliptical orbit, not circular orbit. So if Earth is here, what happens? The distance we can maintain is big. If Earth is here, means the distance will be less, and if Earth is in this location, means the distance will be less. So like that, what happening here is whenever Earth is revolving around the sun, it is not receiving the same intensity of the sunlight in all these positions. So if it is near means we will be getting more. If it is far means we will be getting less. And if in this situation, if there is any solar flares are coming, means what happens? It will be having more impact on Earth and as well as the satellites which are revolving around the Earth. So because of this, we have to monitor everything in detail. So if you are getting that kind of details, we can make satellites which are proof, which can withstand in this harsh conditions as well, so that the life of the satellites can be increased. Okay, so that we will be having minimal loss because of the solar flare case. Okay, now let us see this article clearly. Okay, this article context says that scientists from Indian Institute of Astrophysics, that is IIA, and NASA, they had made first ever electroscopic observations of coronal mass ejection, that is nothing but the solar winds or solar flares which are coming from the sun. And now they released this data in the public website. So because of this, it is in news. So if you see about this Aditya L1 mission, it is India's first space-based solar observatory, and it is present at L1 position, Lagrange point L1. So here, if you see about these Lagrange points, we have 5 Lagrange points that you have to know. On this Lagrange points, also UPSC already asked a prelims based question 2023, guys. So here, as you know, we have sun. Here, for example, we have earth. So here we have Earth. On this point we have L1 between L2 and between L3. At exactly 60 degrees plane we have L4 here, and 60 degrees plane down we have L5. So we have 5 Lagrange points. So what are these points? Are nothing but these points can balance the magnetic force and gravitational force of sun and earth will be balanced in this position. So if you want to study about the sun, we have to keep the satellites only in this L5, that is L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5 positions only. Or else what happens, that satellite will be coming under the gravitational impact of sun or earth. So if you want to maintain the stable positions and if you want to have the continuous monitoring of the sun, we have to place them in this 5 locations only for the sun. So we place this Aditya at this L1 position. Okay. So I will check whether it is L1 or L2 like this. So check one here. It is L1 here, no? L1 here and L2 here. Okay, L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5. It is 60 degrees. You have to remember. It is equilateral triangle, angle is 60, right? So here exactly this angle 60 degrees we have L4 and 60 degrees down we have L5. So these are the 5 important Lagrange points. Where? This one is L5. L1, L2, L3, L4, L5 like this only. Okay, 1 minute. Let me check clearly. No, L5 is up and down only. No, it is right. L4 and L5. Here you can see. Can you see here? This is sun. This is Earth, L1, L2, this is L3, 60 degrees here and 60 degrees here, L4, L5. So these are the 5 Lagrange points, okay. So only these points we have to keep this satellites, okay. And when it was launched in year 2023, very important. And it is very important to study the impact of this solar winds on our satellite operations, especially the communication satellites, and even it will be having impact on the power grids. So there was a question on the solar flares in 2023, guys. Which of the following are the impacts of solar winds on Earth's surface? They gave like 5 statements, and the answer was all are correct, I think so. Okay, so see once that question 2023, there was a question regarding impact of solar flares in your prelims, guys. It is not mains question, it is a prelims question, and they gave 5 to 6 statements in that. They asked about this power grids. So many people, they thought that why it will be having impact on the power. There will be no impact on the power. But even on the power grids also, the solar flares will be having impact, guys. Okay, and this mission carries 7 indigenously developed payloads. 5 are like developed by ISRO and 2 are developed by this Indian academic institutions. And it mainly focuses on photosphere, chromosphere, and corona of the sun, and even studies about the solar emissions and even magnetic field variations. Okay, and energetic particle fluxes, that like what are the energy particles that are coming from the sun, that is called as photons, how it is having impact on the other celestial bodies. We are going to study all those things under that Aditya L1 mission, guys. Very important, this year you may get question regarding this Aditya L1. So here you may get question in this way. Consider the following statements regarding this Aditya L1. They'll give you 3 to 4 statements and they may ask you correct, or else they will give you this kind of question like match the following. Like on one side they'll give you list 1 and another side they'll give you list 2, and they may give all solar missions on one side and they will ask you to match with the countries. Okay, because India is not only the country which is focusing on the study of sun, but even other countries like other countries like USA's NASA, and even European Space Agency of European Union. So they are also focusing on studying of the sun, right? So you have to collect the details regarding sun's missions across the world and which country is launching that. You may get this kind of questions. You have to be very much careful. And what is significance of this mission? This Aditya L1 will provide continuous solar monitoring, and we can predict space weather also when we are going to have this kind of solar winds and their impacts on our Earth. And it will be also helpful for supporting of global solar research, and will also helpful for showcasing our India's capacity in this space, so that we can attract more investments in this space sector in our country. Okay, so see this next article, guys. Title says COP30 Beginner's Guide on what to expect from Climate Summit. So this article is very important. Every year at least 4 to 5 summits related to your environment and ecology will be there in news, and you have to focus on that. How they'll ask you the question is, this is COP30, right? So they may ask you questions like COP15, what are the highlights? COP29, what are the highlights? COP30, what are the highlights? And the place where it was held. So I'm not asking you to remember all these COP30s, but just see the important conference of parties and what are the specific outcomes of that so-and-so summit. You may get this kind of match the following question regarding this COPs. Okay, and this topic is very important from your environment and ecology from GS paper 3, guys. So 30th Conference of Parties to United Nations Climate Change began in Belgium, Brazil. So this year it is going on in this Brazil, and it is very important because this year is 2025, and if you go back to 10 years back, it was 2015, right? So 2015 Conference of Parties was very important because at that time we came up with this Paris Climate Deal. So what is Paris Climate Deal, guys? Online students, tell me in the comment box. Paris Climate Deal. Okay, what are the targets of this Paris climate deal? We have to reduce temperature by 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees centigrade when we compare with this pre-industrial levels. So now this is 1 decade after that we came up with this Paris climate deal. So because of this, in this COP30 we are going to have the special focus on this Paris agreement, whether we achieve those targets or not, what countries are doing. So can we achieve the targets in future or not? If not now, when we can achieve those targets? So all those things will be the highlights of this COP30 this year, guys. So what is COP30? Conference of Parties is nothing but every year annually we'll do this kind of meetings of United Nations Climate Conference, and where we are focusing on especially progress of Paris Agreement, and we are focusing on strengthening of emission targets, and even we are going to negotiate about this finances and what are the frameworks that we have to adapt. And this year hosted by Brazil, guys, you have to remember. And if you see the key initiatives that we are expecting to happen in this COP30 is, first one is global stock take. So we are going to review Paris climate deal now. The first important expected outcome is we are going to review this Paris agreement, and we are going to identify the gaps. Where are the gaps? Why we are not achieving that targets? What can be done? And next one here is we are going to have new collective quantified goal. So as you all know that we are not achieving, we didn't achieve this Paris climate deal. That means next what should be the steps? What should be the roadmap for the next 10 years or for the next year for 2020, 2030 or 2035? That thing that we are going to think about. And this one here is we are going to have a measurable targets and even funding. As you all know that if you take the countries across the globe, we have developed countries, developing countries, and least developed countries. So developed countries, they came up with industrial revolution far back, far ago. So they released as much as emissions as possible already, and they created this climate change. And now they are asking these developing countries and least developed countries not to come up with industrial revolution. You have to reduce this carbon dioxide emissions. You have to have the control. So will that possible? Already they were like developed. They solved almost all the problems they have. But these developing countries and least developed countries, they have lots of problems. If they have to fight against that problems, they have to go for industrial revolution. So if they're not using industries, they're not focusing on manufacturing, can they create employment? Can they decrease poverty? Can they go for increasing of their GDP? No. But now these developed countries are keeping restrictions on these countries. Is that fair? No. So because of this, developing countries and least developed countries are asking that, okay, we'll not release as you released, but we need help from you. So what is that help? Please provide finances so that we can adopt technologies, so that we can minimize the release of carbon dioxide emissions. Not only that, even we don't have that much technology, please give us technology also. That thing they are going to talk in this global goal for adaptation, guys, about climate financing and as well as technology transfer. And next one is they are going to have tropical forest forever facilities. They are also going for finances for increasing of this carbon sink. So in which areas we can observe more amount of carbon dioxide? Normally trees, and next one is oceans. So we have to protect oceans and we have to focus on increasing of forest cover. They are going to focus on this as well. Okay, and they want to link carbon reduction with forest, ocean, as well as soil restoration. So these are the some expected outcomes, and we have to still wait and watch what will be the final outcomes, whether India will be getting satisfied or not. So actually in this 2024, in this COP29, India was not satisfied with this COP29. So again, we have to wait at least in this year whether India will be satisfied or not. Okay. So see this article, guys. Does India need nutritional transformation? This article is talking about two important concepts. First one is functional foods and next one is protein rich foods, guys, or smart proteins. Please make a note. First one is functional food. Second one is smart proteins. Very, very important. So you may get a question regarding this. Recently, functional food is seen in news. Which of the following option correctly suits that? they'll give you ABCD. Almost all 4 options will be like looking similar only. You will be getting confused whether this or that or this. So don't fall into that trap. So just see what is this functional food and what are the smart proteins. Okay, now let us see this article. Society's approach to food is changing. And now there is a major shift on focusing of this functional foods and smart proteins that promote better health and sustainability. So here this article is saying that nowadays, especially people are not focusing on this junk foods. There is increased awareness about the food, nutrition, dietary habits. Because of there is also increased communicable, non-communicable disease in our country. So especially increasing of by hypertension or BP patients, increasing of diabetes patients, increasing of liver disease patients, kidney disease, whatever it may be. So there is very high risk of non-communicable disease in our country. And even nowadays, because of increased internet penetration, increased advanced technology, everyone have their own mobile phones, tablets, and as well as laptop, whatever it may be. So because of this, what is happening? Increased awareness. And especially this food related, dietary related reels or channels, you're getting good amount of views, everything, good income. And even have you heard about this Herbal Life? It is one of the good business nowadays. Actually, it is a very good business. It is not about improving of health. It is a good business. I hope you can understand why I'm saying that. Okay, so here what is happening here is now there is better health promotions are happening, and even people are focusing on their diet and as well as their changing of their health habits. So in this context, this article is saying that whether we have to go for functional foods or smart proteins. So here you have to see what is functional foods. Functional foods are nothing but enriched foods that promote health or prevent disease. For example, vitamin enriched rice or omega-3 fortified milk. So functional foods are nothing but we are adding extra vitamins, minerals in our diet. For example, as you all know that we'll take normal rice. What is the color of rice? White, white or half white. But what is happening here? We can also add vitamin A to our rice through genetically modified crops. Through GM crops, we can incorporate whatever we want. So such kind of foods are called as functional foods. In this functional foods, we are going to add vitamin in our rice. And even in our milk, we can add this omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, so how we can use this nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics is nothing but the study of how nutrition interacts with the genes. And we can go for biofortification. So I think if you are getting this PDS rice, everyone will be getting this ration shop ration rice, right? So if you take some rice in your hand or on a plate, and if you see, all rice is not same. You can see round small round pellets. So those pellets are nothing but rice flour which is mixed with vitamins. That is called as biofortified rice, you can see. And this one is 3D food printing. We can go and we can go for bioprocessing. By all these methods, we can increase our value addition for our food. So normally when you write your main answer, I will always say value addition, value addition. So in the same way, what are the food you are taking, you have to take value added food. That is having some amount of rich vitamins, minerals which is required for your body. So that is called as functional food in simple. Value addition in your mains, value addition in your food. That is called as functional food. And it's one is smart proteins or nothing but by using biotechnology, we are going to reduce reliance on conventional production. These includes plant-based proteins. We can go for fermentation dry proteins. We can go for cultivated meat. So here, smart proteins is nothing but normally what are the rich sources of protein that we'll take? We'll take egg, we'll take chicken, non-veg, mutton, so whatever it may be. And for especially who are vegetarians, the good source of protein is paneer, yes. And next one is soya chunks. Normally we'll say that mill maker. So these are the rich source of proteins. Apart from that, we have pulses, dal. Okay, so now what is happening if you are dependent on that? Can we ensure protein security for everyone? So as you all know that pulses is not produced that much high intensity in our country. In our country, we'll focus on what? Sugarcane, rice, wheat. So those are the major things. If you see pulses, very, very less. And actually, we are importing pulses from other countries. If we are getting pulses from other countries, can we ensure protein security for everyone? No. So because of this article is saying that we have to use biotechnology and we have to reduce our dependence on conventional production of proteins. Rather than that, we can go for structuring of legumes, cereals, oil seeds, so that it can mimic animal meat and dairy. Animal meat and dairy is having important, high rich source of protein. But if you compare with the plant they will be having very less. So we can use technology in this plants and we can improvise this protein like this animal meat and dairy in this plant based products. That is the thing which mainly said it is called as smart protein. Okay, what is a smart work? So we have hard work, we have smart work. Smart work is nothing but how will you do the smart work? Hard work is nothing but from morning to evening, from first page to last page you are reading, but there is no question coming in that topic itself. That is called as hard work. But what is smart work? So you will be saying from which topic the question will come, you will analyze your PYQs and you will start reading with that only, so that if the question comes, yes, for sure you will be attempting that, right? So in the proteins also, here we have conventional source, that is traditional source of protein. So if you are focusing on this traditional source of protein, we can't ensure protein security for everyone. So rather than that, we can use technology and we can improvise this protein in this plant based, so that it will be mimicking animal based meat and dairy case. So that is called as smart protein. Clear? So why we have to focus on these functional foods and as well as smart proteins? What is the need here is India is having nutritional imbalance. As you all know that there are large amount of people who are having stunting. They are not having proper weight. And even we have wasting. Stunting is height and wasting is weight. And not only that, malnutrition is there. And not only that, anemia is prevalent. So lots of micronutrient diseases are also prevalent. And India is facing this hidden hunger. What is hidden hunger concept? Micronutrient deficiency. We are providing rice, we are providing wheat that comes under carbohydrates, but we are not focusing on essential vitamins, minerals. That is causing hidden hunger. If you want to overcome such kind of problems in our country, we have to focus on this functional foods and as well as smart proteins. That is the thing which mainly said. Okay, see this article guys. High intensity explosion in capital kills at least 9. And there is also many articles which are related to that blast in our today's newspaper. So I added one thing, that is CISF puts all installations under its cover on high alert in Delhi NCR region. So here you have to see about this CISF. What is CISF? Central Industrial Security Force. So where we can see them? If you have been to airport, so you'll be seeing them, big vehicles. On that one will be standing on solar rooftop and he will be holding a big gun. So in many movies also, if someone is carrying any illegal things in this airports, who will catch them? CISF people. And recently in parliament, there is some security breach happened. So after that, now parliament is also under control of the CISF guys. Okay, so here you have to see about this Central Armed Police Forces. Apart from CISF, we have Assam Rifles, we have BSF. So you have to see all those things, Indo-Tibetan Border Police. Okay, so like that. So now let us see this article. So this is a car blast. You can see that car. I-20. Yes. So high intensity explosion occurred in a slow moving Hyundai i20 car near Red Fort in central Delhi. It is around 6:52 p.m. guys. Okay, around 6:52 p.m. the blast happened. That is very small Hyundai i20 car. And the correct reasons had not been yet published, but this article is saying certain possible reasons or possible causes and how this investigation is going on in this case. So forensic samples from the blast sites, including some remnants of explosive devices, they were under analysis now. And they said that they used very high intensity, intense explosives, and possibly it is a crude bomb, but no confirmed device type. And there is also one more article that uh, large scale of explosive were find in this Jammu and Kashmir region also. So we have to see whether this incident and that incident, is there any link between that. So do we have any threat of terror attacks in the future or not? So everything we have to get in detail things. So we can't say that we are going to have terror attacks now, we got that, we got this. So we should not panic the people, right? So because of this, after everything which had been gone, after complete investigation only, we will be getting the reports of what are the major causes and what led that, who involved in this, or it is like an accidental thing, or like we don't know. So here these are the details which are mainly came up. And they said that they find that a person, car's registered owner, was detained in this Gurugram, Haryana region, and he was taken for the questioning. And even they are finding CCTV footage nearby, including metro station, and they are tracing this vehicle movements where it had been stopped. So from where it was, like everything. Okay. So we have to see and get the details. So what is the impact of this event? So many people died, and not only death happened, but even many people got injured also in this incident. And next one here is, now nationwide high red alerts had been issued, especially in states of Punjab, Haryana, Telangana, Maharashtra, Karnataka, wherever we have metropolitan cities, everywhere red alert, and we have to be very very careful while we are moving in these crowded areas. And next one here is, political and social reactions are coming. Different people are saying different kinds of statements, but don't bother about all those things. So we'll be getting final report soon. Okay, so that is the thing, nothing more than that. Yes, this is a very important article, guys. This article is saying that celebrating a Sage King, a celebration of Indo-Bhutan ties. This article is talking about India-Bhutan relations. Very, very important, guys. India-Bhutan relations. This article is important from which subject? International relations, from GS paper 2. In international relations, every year you will be getting for sure 3 questions minimum, guys. So one question is from India and its neighborhood. India and its neighborhood is nothing but, India is sharing boundary with 7 countries on land, right? We have Pakistan, we have China, we have Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. With those countries, how India is facing challenges, or if you are having any agreements, or if you are improving our relations. So from that area, you will be getting question. And next question is from India bilateral relations. India bilateral is nothing but India, US, India, Russia, the countries which we are not sharing boundary directly, but in the recent past we are improving our relations. Then you will be getting question. And next one is India and grouping. So we have lots of groupings like BRICS, ASEAN, BIMSTEC, G20, G4, G7, G8. So if they are in news, obviously you will be getting question regarding that. Okay, so here what you have to see from India and its neighborhood is, first of all, you have to open your atlas and you have to see about map where this Bhutan located. And you have to see which of our Indian states sharing boundary with this Bhutan. And next you have to see about areas of cooperation, in which areas India and Bhutan are cooperating together. And next you have to see what is the significance, what is the importance of this relation. For India, what is the benefit that we are going to get? For Bhutan, what is the benefit Bhutan is going to get if you are maintaining good relations? And next you have to see what are the challenges between India and Bhutan. And next, you are writing examination for this IFS, right? Indian Foreign Service. For example, if you are posted in this Bhutan, you have to mediate between Government of India and Government of Bhutan, right? So here you have to see what are the measures you have to take to address these challenges and to improvise this relations between India and Bhutan. So you have to think in all these dimensions, and this topic is important from your mains, but from this map point of view, you may get prelims based question as well. Every year, if you're perfect with this maps, guys, you can solve at least 5 questions for sure in your prelims. So you have to be very, very good with maps. Every day, at least half an hour, sit on maps and see the locations and try to understand the relations. So here, relations cannot form that much easily. So based on the geography only, we'll make the relationship, right? For example, if you are from Nellore, if any Nellore guy came to class, your Nellore, my Nellore, Akash, kada Akash. So like that, what happens? You'll start maintaining good relations. So here, India-Bhutan relations are also based on the geography. For that, you have to open Atlas and you have to see map for sure. It is not only for Bhutan, for any other country in this international relations case. Okay, now let us see the context. So the former king of Bhutan, his name is Wangchuk, turned 70 on November 11th, the father of current king of Bhutan. The current king of Bhutan is called as K5, guys. So earlier his father is K4, and this K4 got 70 years, and during that time of this Wangchuk only, we maintained good relations with this Bhutan. So because of this, once again, this India-Bhutan relations is in news. Okay, so what is significance? Why we have to maintain good relationship? What Bhutan is going to get? Bhutan is a landlocked country. Landlocked is nothing but it is not having any boundary with waters. Yes. So because of this, what is happening? It have to maintain good relation with the country which is having good land borders. So India is having east coast, west coast. So India coastline is around 11,090 kilometers. We are having coast with this Arabian Sea, down Indian Ocean. Here in the east, we have Bay of Bengal. So if it is maintaining good relationship, is it helpful for the Bhutan? Yes, it can go for trade. And not only that, India also came up with this free trade regime with this Bhutan. So that what is happening, the trade between India and Bhutan are going at a very soft pace. And next one here is India will also help Bhutan in development purpose. So as you all know that Bhutan is a Himalayan country. Himalayas will be going on this Bhutan as well, right? So because of this, what happened? Himalayas are very famous for Himalayan river system. So Himalayan river system are perennial rivers, and even water flow is very, very high. So can they build hydropower dams? So they are building this hydropower projects. For that, India is helping this Bhutan. Not only helping for this development only, India will also buy this hydropower from this Bhutan as well. And India is also a security provider for this Bhutan. So what happened in this 2017 was Doklam standoff. China came up and China occupied this Doklam region, and this region is tri-junction of China, India and Bhutan. So at that time, India supported this Bhutan. And next one here is India came up with this IMTRAT. IMTRAT is nothing but Indian Military Training Team, and India is providing even training for this Bhutanese forces as well. Okay, and you know that India is also developing infrastructure in this region. And even India is providing scholarships for these Bhutanese students to study in India, and India is providing around 50% of scholarship. And even Bhutan is also investing in our India, foreign investments we are getting from. And even India is providing financial support for digital Drukgyal for establishing optical fiber in Bhutan. So India is famous for increasing of internet. India came up with this optical fiber network even in this villages, in this gram panchayats levels also. That project is called as BharatNet project. So India is success in that. So India is also helping this Bhutan for this kind of optical fiber net in Bhutan as well. And if you see for India, Bhutan is the largest trade partner, and even in Bhutan's location is very, very important for India because it is acting as a buffer. So here China, here India, between we have Bhutan, it is like a sandwich. So here Bhutan will be very much helpful because it is acting as a buffer between India and China, guys. But we are having certain challenges. Nowadays what is happening here is Chinese influence is increasing in this Bhutan again. So here Bhutan is going towards this China. And this one here is Bhutan-China border disputes are also having impact on India-Bhutan relations as well. Okay, so these are the issues between India and Bhutan, guys. And now let us see the next article. Title says, what is the role of pay commission? So we are going to come up with a new pay commission soon. So actually this pay commission, which is mainly focusing on just revising of salaries, allowances of the government workers, guys. Okay, pay commission, please make a note. Pay commission are set up in India by executive order. It is not based on any law or act. It is not based on any articles of constitution. It is mainly made by executive order of a president. Okay, now let us see some facts actually regarding this pay commission. So this year you may also get a question regarding this pay commission. So you may get a question like this. Consider the following statements regarding this pay commission. It is a constitutional body. It is a statutory body. So these two statements are right. Wrong. It is mainly based on executive order of a president, guys. And it is a body established by central government for what? To review and to recommend changes related to salary, allowances and pensions of central government employees and the pensioners who are going to get the pensioners. It is established by whom? Department of Expenditure. Please make a note. It is by Ministry of Finance. So they may give Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs. No, it is by Ministry of Finance. And the important aim is to ensure fair compensation for government employees, and will be also recommend the formulas for dearness allowances, dearness relief, etc. And it will review the pays and allowance of central government employees. It will also suggest some changes to enhance the governance system, and will also helpful for ensuring of physical sustainability of salary revisions, everything. So regarding the salaries, allowance and pensions, pay commission plays a very important role. It is mainly established by executive order. It is not a constitutional body, it is not a statutory body. Okay, whenever it is required, it is formed, and it is formed by Ministry of Finance, guys. Okay, so these are the important topics that appear in our newspaper. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please do like this class and share this class. From today onwards, we are going to have regular current affairs in the morning session, so there will be no discontinuation. Every function has been done, guys. And you can follow us on our Instagram page, where we are providing prelims question with answer and as well as mains question with model answer and also current affairs in short. And we have two YouTube channels. One is Telugu official and one is English official. You can follow us on our both channels. The links are given in the description box, guys.